What's going on, everybody? Derek Dimes and Bryce, defeatthebook.com. Let us help you beat the odds. Back at it again with episode 2, season 1. Not sure what we're going to call the show yet. We really haven't mulled it over yet. Just want to make sure we're pumping out some content for you guys, and we have some new stuff to talk about here today. But starting it off, kicking it over to Bryce. Man, how's your day been going so far?
Man, it's going good. I got no complaints. I lost my blue light glasses, so I've been staring at screens all day, and my eyes are just straining all to get out. So gotta find them glasses. But other than that, man, I'm good, dude. Rolling in college basketball, hoping to have another big night. How about yourself?
Yeah, man, ready to get into it. It's almost that time to get into the games. Actually, some games on right now. I got the TV up above the screen at a picture, so I'm watching a little bit of the games and obviously doing this as well. But want to make sure we get right into it. A lot to talk about. We're going to try to keep it short and sweet as we always do here, but keep the content high, keep the quality good for you guys. So we're going to kick things off with the GOAT, as Tom Brady calling it quits. Is he really done this time or what?
I don't know. It's kind of like last year we went through the saga, and when it was announced, I literally like wept a little bit inside. Like I was actually like legitimately sad. I'm not a huge Brady fan, but I do kind of learn to appreciate his greatness.
Right.
And so when he announced last year, I was pretty upset about it. This year, it's just kind of like I don't know how to take it. Is
Right.
it for real? Is it going to happen? So I think it is for real, but we'll have to see. I mean, who knows?
Right. Yeah, I think it's for real this time. And I think that when you get to reflect on certain things after you've made a decision as big as he made last year, and kind of all the things he endured, and you kind of saw that he was in it and he was invested, but his mind and his heart, I feel like we're in other places. When you're with a woman that long and you got kids and your entire family, and then she's just like, hey, make a choice, and then you make one, and then you backtrack. It's just a lot on the line. And then the season didn't really go the way he thought it was going to go. They were unlucky with a lot of injuries to that offensive line, wide receivers in and out, tight ends in and out. So I feel like it was just a lot on his plate to kind of keep in the back of his mind. And it didn't really go the way that I think that he wanted it to go. So,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And it's not I think he just wanted the storybook ending. You know what I mean? And I think he had it. I think when he got the one in Tampa Bay, I thought that was awesome. And I was like, he should just ride out and just be done and be like one of the best. I mean, he's still one of the best. He's the best quarterback, in my opinion, of all time.
Yeah, I think that if you were going to write it any different, I mean, if you were going to write it, his script and how he was going to sail off, it should have been a retirement after that Super Bowl. It just kind of like, ha, I did
Right,
it
right, right,
without you.
right,
See,
right. Perfect slap in the face to Bill Belichick.
it's just you hate seeing guys play. I don't think he played longer than he should have. That's the thing. We've seen quarterbacks in the past, play a little bit longer than they should have. Maybe their health deteriorates and they're just like they fall off. Like you said, it's Brady fell off this year, but how much of it was actually Brady? I mean, the
Right.
offensive line issues, injuries to the receivers, tight ends in and out. I think his head coach was out of his depth. I mean, he had a new coach, new coordinator, all these things going into the season, and he's Brady, so he's going to get everybody's best shot week in and week out. So if it's not like a finely tuned machine,
Yeah.
you know, you see some kinks in that armor. So I do think he regressed a little bit, but I don't really think he played longer than he should have. I think it's just one of those things. It's just
Yeah.
kind of sad.
Yeah, it's tough to watch. As you said, I definitely think he regressed. I don't think he's the guy that he once was. But a lot of those things that you mentioned, I think were key factors. I think a lot of people didn't buy enough stock in losing Bruce Arians. That was a huge loss that I think. You went from an offensive mind, an offensive guru who's worked with a lot of great quarterbacks, a lot of great receivers, to a head coach who's now a lot more defensive minded here. So it really shifted the paradigm in the way that the team operated and moved. And the defense was banged up. They went a long time without Vita Vea. They all of a sudden couldn't run the ball. And as
Yep.
long as Brady's been around, he's almost always had a good run game. So it was, I mean, tough to see him kind of go out that way. You really don't want to see the greats go out like that. But we've seen worse. I mean, to me, like guys like Big Ben was like noodle arm for like the last like 3 years, like just a shadow of his former self,
Yep.
and guys like that. But yeah, to me, easily the best player of all time. I would like to bring up the favorite moment? Like, what's your best Brady moment or your worst Brady moment, whatever the case may be? What's one thing you'll always remember about Brady?
It's kind of a game that I don't know if it'll go unnoticed, but it just kind of sticks out in my mind like one of those things where you know how like you might not have done something, but you can always say, yeah, well, I could have kind of thing.
Right.
It's one of those instances with Brady. In 2009, he played, or him and the Patriots played the Tennessee Titans, and he threw 5 touchdowns in the second quarter of that football game and ended the game with 6. Now, of course, they off the record 7.
Right.
So it's they beat them 59-0, and had the game even been even, I don't even know, but I felt like he could have easily passed for 9 touchdowns in that game.
Right.
And it's just, Brady doesn't have the all-time single game record, but he could have.
Yeah.
It's kind of one of those things. So that's my favorite Brady moment. Is just because the game was in the snow. He threw
Right.
6 touchdowns, 5 and 1/4 in the snow.
Yeah.
And it was just an absolute beatdown. That's my favorite Brady moment. I don't know why. It's just kind of like I think that's because that's the kind of guy that I am. Sometimes I don't always do something, but I'll always look at somebody and it's like, yeah, but I could have.
Right.
And
Right.
so that's Brady's like, yeah, but I could have moment. So that's my favorite.
Yeah, he's had so many great moments. Obviously, for me, I like to bring up 52. It was a nice revenge Super Bowl 52 with my birds. I had to bring it up. I'm sorry. But it was awesome, awesome game. And I think to me, that was one of the moments where firsthand you kind of got a feel as a fan for his greatness outside of just watching it. Because even though I felt like we controlled the game and I felt like we were going to win the game, it's still, I was like, it's just Tom Brady. You know what I mean? It was like an 8 point game with like a minute something left. And I'm like, this guy can score any minute. Like, if anyone can do it, this guy can do it. And then obviously also we run Philly, Philly after they pretty much ran the same trick play and he dropped the ball. So that was a nice
Yeah.
little, you know what I mean? That was something I will never forget that moment in time. Having enough stone for us to run the same play that they just ran and for him dropping the ball was kind of like this kind of proves that he's not that great of an athlete. You know what I mean? So it's he should have caught that ball. He should
To play devil's advocate, Foles' catch was a lot easier than Brady's would have been.
That's
Brady's was
fair.
running down the sideline about 15 yards
That's
down
fair.
the right sideline. Foles was wide open in the end zone.
Neither one of them are good athletes if we're going to keep like yeah, like, if we're going to go that route. Neither one of those guys are going to be my first pick to run RPO. So, you know what I mean? But yeah. So an ode to him. We thank him. I appreciate him. Everything he brought to the game. I don't think in our lifetimes we'll see anybody better. I mean, Mahomes is awesome, but what's he got? 7 rings now? It's like it's just
Right.
it's a lot.
I think there's a lot that goes into the GOAT conversation, and I think Brady just checks all the boxes.
Yep.
Um, you can say, well, somebody else might be a more gifted athlete or a better quarterback,
Right.
but he just doesn't have the rings to match Brady, and you
Right.
can't really say Brady's a GOAT because he's not as good. But Brady had like a 3 to 5 window where he was the best quarterback in the
Right.
league, regardless of the accolades and the postseason and in the Super Bowls and all that stuff. Nobody was a better passer in the NFL than Tom Brady from like
Yeah.
2007 to 2000, like what, 10, 11?
Yeah. It's yeah.
I mean,
Our,
he's the all-time leader in touchdowns, yards, Super Bowl appearances, Super Bowl wins. I
yeah.
think that just kind of, you know, I don't know. I think he's the undoubtedly GOAT. I mean,
Yeah, it's tough to argue that. And I
yeah,
agree with that as you were saying, it's across many different things. It's not one like people always say rings. Obviously rings matter, but I mean, he's got
right,
stats, he's got rings, he's got accolades. He's done it with good defenses, he's done it with bad defenses. He's done it with 2 different teams, 2 different coaches. It's like if there's a way to get it done, he's done it. And he has been. I mean, now it's even his last few years in Tampa Bay. It's like he was in his 40s, and we've never seen him throw the ball more. It's been
yeah.
incredible to watch, and a heck of a ride. But staying on the path of the NFL now, we have Sean Payton headed to Denver. What does this do for you? Do you think it moves the needle for them, or what?
I think it puts a whole lot of pressure on everybody involved.
Yeah.
Sean Payton, Russell Wilson. the organization as a whole. I just was going over some notes here. The Denver Broncos in the past 2 years have made two offseason trades, one for Russ and now for Sean Payton. They have sent a total of one, two, three, four,
Yeah, it's insane.
five draft picks
Yeah, it's a lot.
and three players for a head coach that hasn't coached in a year and has never coached without a Hall of Fame quarterback, and a quarterback that, let's be honest, he lost the locker room in the second half of that season. So while they do have a great defense, they have a great defense, and they've got some young key pieces on offense. All well and good. They still play on the AFC West against Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert. You got the Raiders. I mean, you're going to play a difficult schedule. What do you say if the Denver Broncos aren't winning next year? What are you going to say? You've sold the farm. You have
Yeah,
no capital whatsoever. You're up against
right.
the cap space. You're up against you have nothing to build off with the draft picks in the next couple of years. You got a Hall of Fame coach and a Hall of Fame quarterback borderline. What do you do if you don't win? And not to mention, did you know that Russell Wilson has never thrown for more than like 4,100 yards in a season? I
Yeah,
didn't know that until Geno Smith set the Seattle Seahawks passing record this season.
that
I
and that.
was like,
Yeah,
that was crazy to me. So I just think it's a whole lot of pressure. I'm interested to see how it happens. I think that he was dumb to go there, and I think they were dumb to trade for him.
wow, that's a bold statement. I don't. I think they got their guy, and I think if there's anyone who can do it, that's the guy to do it. I think one of the best offensive minds that we've seen, obviously, the things that he's done with obviously Drew Brees. I'm not saying that Russell Wilson is Drew Brees, but I also think that the skill set is different. These guys do two different things. He uses his feet a lot better than Drew Brees does. And I think if there's anyone who can bring out the best attributes, there we go, of a player, it's Sean Payton. He basically got Taysom Hill paid. You know what I mean? Like this guy was throwing, he was running, and he just became like a utility player for them and became an asset for the Saints. And we've seen Dennis Allen try to do the same thing, and it's nowhere near as explosive or dynamic as when Sean Payton was there. So I think if there's a guy to do it, it's him. But speaking about Wilson and 4,100 yards, I think a lot of people don't really take into account his career, not even just in the NFL. Going back to North Carolina State and Wisconsin. Wisconsin runs the ball. That's who Wisconsin is to its core, through and through. It still is. Seattle runs the ball. That's who they are at their core, through and through. He's a play action passer, and I think Denver wants to get back to that, but they just need a guy to make the big plays. Now, do I think Russell Wilson is on the level of like arm talent as like a Aaron Rodgers or you know what I mean, and Patrick Mahomes, any of these Joe Burrow? Like, no, I'd much rather have those guys. But if you're talking about a leader, you're talking about a guy who can make plays for you. I think he's able to do that, and I think Sean Payton can bring that out of them. With that said, the AFC is absolutely loaded. Not even just talking about the division. You know what I mean? Obviously,
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes, now there's rumors of Aaron Rodgers coming over to the Raiders, which would make it even crazier, to reunite with Devontae Adams. But, you certainly have Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes, maybe Aaron Rodgers. It's just Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson. It's just
Trevor
flooded.
Lawrence.
Yeah, it's just absolutely flooded with young quarterback talent. And I think this year was the first year we kind of seen a changing of the guard with, I think, the older guys and some of these younger guys really stepping up to make plays.
Yeah, it's a tough spot, but I do agree with the point you're making. Bold take, February 2nd, 2023, very early prediction. Take Javonte Williams very early in your fantasy drafts next year. Probably going to be a top 3 running back. I would take him at 101. That's just me.
Yeah, I like that. And he's on my dynasty team. I'm in the league with Bryce. He's on my dynasty team. I was salty he went down. We put him on the IR. I still somehow won. I got lucky. I feel like we should have settled it another way. I ended up winning because the guy I was facing had T. Higgins, and then the crazy DeMar Hamlin thing happened, and it just was like, hey, game over. We're not playing this game. I ended up winning, but I felt like I wasn't deserving. Although my team was pretty good, I think the other guy's team was much better. He was dominating all year.
Yeah,
But
he's a force.
yeah, he was really good. But speaking about Sean Payton, also, who do you think comes in as his defensive coordinator? So a lot of these guys have been taken up already. We've seen D'Amico Ryans go over to the Texans, and we've seen some of these other guys get picked up as well. Evero, obviously, out there. Some people are talking about Flores as he's a linebacker coach over with the Steelers, and Fangio. So who do you think is going to be the guy? Because some of the guys that he's historically gone with are older guys now. We haven't seen Rob Ryan in the game for a while. And Dennis Allen's obviously the head coach at the Saints. So it's going to be interesting to see who he's going to go with as his DC.
Yeah, I think Vic Fangio he just took the defensive coordinator job at Miami, so
Yeah.
he's off the market now, which
Right.
I thought would have been like a good fit for him to go to Denver, but it also been kind of weird for him to go back to Denver
Right.
as a DC.
Right.
So it's a little strange. Um, I think somebody's going to give Steve Wilkes a shot at defensive
Yeah,
coordinator
that's a good one.
from
Yeah.
the Panthers. While I do not think he got the raw end of the deal with the head coach position there, I do think that somebody's going to give him a shot as a defensive coordinator. I think Carolina would offer him the position, but I don't think he would stay under the circumstances. So it'd be
Right.
interested to see where he would go. Um, I don't really know of any other like high profile names that are in the hat right now, other
Yeah.
than the couple you mentioned. But obviously, D'Amico Ryans is not going to take a lateral position
No.
and leave San Fran. He's going to take a head coach position. So I don't know. I'd be interested to see if Steve Wilkes is now thrown into that hat with Fangio going to Miami.
Yeah, I think that that's the case, and I think even there were some murmurs out there that they were saying that he's been having talks with Fangio, even though he's at Miami, to see if he could back out of the deal then and then come back to Denver. So it'll be interesting to keep an eye on that and see how that progresses moving forward. But ultimately, it's building up to be an exciting NFL season as always next year. I'm very excited to see what Sean Payton does. One of the best coaches we've seen, and now he has yet another. I think he'll be a Hall of Fame quarterback, especially if he goes out and does anything here in Denver. And with the people who've gotten before him, I feel like it's not been like they haven't been as strict as I as I
Yeah,
expect. You know what I mean? Like guys have been getting in it. I didn't really necessarily feel deserved to get in, and then some guys I felt deserved to get in haven't really gotten in. So
yeah. I think I just looked it up. This guy's name, the DB coach for the Rams, Jonathan Cooley. I think if you have a defense that's like Denver, you've got some young cornerbacks. Surtain is just nasty. Cooley has experience with Ramsey and some of those DBs. I think that might be would be a good fit for Surtain to learn from a guy like that has experience coaching, experienced veteran, talented corners and other defensive backs. I think that might be a good fit.
yeah,
I don't know if he would leave LA, but have to
yeah,
see.
right. Yeah, so that's something that we'll definitely keep an eye on. Talking about legacy, talking about greatness, making a little shift here to King James, 89 points away from breaking Kareem's record. It just been an incredible career. This is one of those guys I think that once he's done, that people are really going to miss what he brought to the game and what he brought to the NBA and the things that he's done. He's honestly like nothing I've ever seen before. But 89 points away. How do you think it impacts his legacy? What are your thoughts on it?
I think this is a long time coming. I think we all were just kind of the longer that he played, it's just kind of a foregone conclusion that he was going to be the all-time leading scorer in the NBA.
Right.
I definitely think that he's going to break it against the Bucks. I think that has significant, historical impact. They've got a game coming up February 9th, and I think that's the game he's going to do it. As far as his legacy, I think his legacy is already kind of just implemented. It's already set in stone. I don't think this really affects it anymore because we already it was, like I said, a foregone conclusion that this was going to happen. I've been thinking about, you mentioned that we are going to talk about this topic tonight, and you know how I feel about LeBron and the GOAT topic. And as I mentioned earlier, the GOAT it's multiple categories that fits into that. Having thinking about it, I think that LeBron might be the best basketball player we've ever seen. Now, and that's a bold statement for me
That
because
I
we
before you go on, let me just say right here for those who don't know, I never, ever, ever thought I'd hear you say those words. Ever.
Right.
ever. This is Michael Jeffrey Jordan over here. Like this is Michael Jeffrey Jordan through and through. I thought you would stick to that to the death.
I will, but let me back up. He's probably the most well-rounded basketball player we've ever seen. He he does not have the killer instinct, that Mamba mentality. He does not have that Kobe. He doesn't have the Jeffrey Jordan. He doesn't have that in him. But you can't take away his skill set and his ability to rebound, run an offense, pass, score. Um, and I think that we've seen basketball as a whole change its dynamic, and Curry has absolutely changed the game. And the game that we now play does not fit LeBron James or his skill set. And I think that is the reason why we kind of have been lulled to sleep and taking LeBron James for granted of how great he actually is, because his skill set is not, popping outside, or the little,
Right.
that's not his skill set. He can hit the shot every night, like, but he's not going to go out and drop 50 a game by shooting, 12 threes.
Right.
Um, I think the game hasn't really passed him by, but because it has evolved, we take for granted like his actual skill set and his ability night in and night out. At least I have, and
Right.
I'm willing to recognize that. And another great going to be retiring soon, and probably going to miss seeing him in the playoffs. And I'll tell you what, in that late 2000s, those Cleveland Cavaliers in the playoffs was like must-watch TV.
Oh man. It's I really think that people are they're really undervaluing what he's brought to the game, the things that he's done for the NBA, the things that he's done for basketball, the community. There are very few people that come from where LeBron's come from, and to have the impact that he's had, and to have like the worst thing we say about LeBron is that, oh, he had the decision. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's how good of a guy he's been, like on the court, off the court. Like he doesn't make good movies. You know what I mean? Like we've seen his movies aren't good, and we're saying that the decision was something that took away from his legacy. But other than that, it's like he doesn't do anything to his wife. He's been with the same woman forever. She has all of his kids. He gives back to the community. He builds schools. He's like what you want your kids to be. You know what I mean? He just passed the other day, I think fourth now on the all-time assist. He's fourth on the all-time assist list, just past Steve Nash. So it's like by the time it's said and done, he's going to be top five in almost every major category. It's just been a
Yeah,
model for consistency and dominance, and just wow, it's been a pleasure to watch. Honestly, I think, and I mean, it's just different. I don't like to compare. We had this discussion. If my guys are watching this, they're going to watch it, I'm sure. We've had the discussion. I don't like to compare Jordan and LeBron. I just think they're two different types of players. Like LeBron's more magic and Jordan is just Jordan. He's the standard of like when you go score, you score like Jordan. When you go to pass, you pass like Magic. He's like a blend of like four different players that we've seen. Like we haven't seen that type of athleticism and speed and the ability to score and get others involved and carry bad teams. Like he's absolutely just been one of one, and it's been a joy to watch.
yeah, I agree. And while I've always argued against him being the goat, I am, I'll recognize what he has brought to the game and how great he actually is.
Right.
Um, I don't think we'll ever see another player like him.
No, no. And now I think what's sad is the conversation that's been going around recently, which I honestly agree with, has been, is the game, do we have to teach kids how to play basketball again? You know what I mean? Like we see a lot of these kids are skilled, like they're super skilled. But like for instance, to me, like Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum like plays the game like he just practiced 30 moves. Like, you know what I mean? He just like, I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna shoot it. It's not fluid, it doesn't flow, it's not in the flow of the game. It's kind of like, here, Bryce, it's your turn. Here, Jason Tatum, it's your turn. Here, Marcus Smart, it's your turn. It's not like the Warriors, we've seen with those few years where like the guys are moving, passing, and cutting, and they destroyed everybody because most guys don't know how to play basic basketball: pass, cut, move, help defense. You know what I mean? Like just the basics. They're extremely skilled, extremely athletic. I think the athleticism is the highest it's ever been in the NBA, but the actual IQ of the game, I think has definitely taking a couple steps back.
I could not agree more. Athleticism masks a lot of flaws. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Um, and it's NFL. It's a ton of athleticism. Just watching the difference between college football and NFL on Sunday, it's the same. It's the same field dimensions, but man, does those windows get a lot shorter and a
Right.
lot smaller on Sunday than they do on Saturday. Um, in the NBA, you have so much athleticism on the court that you could just blow by dudes,
Yeah.
and the ability Curry changed the game, and it's no longer about just like yamming on somebody,
Right.
putting your junk on their chin and just hanging on the rim like it used to be. You know what I mean? Like that was,
Yeah.
it was like,
Yeah. It was
you
much
get
more
fired up
physical.
watching the dunk.
Yeah, much more
But
physical game.
now it's like we got a 3-on-1 fast break. We're gonna pass it wing to wing and hope we hit net.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
That's a fast break now.
yeah,
Is a pull up three.
yeah. It's different. It's different for sure. Um, Going back to something I didn't bring up earlier, I will bring this up briefly and then we're gonna wrap it up here. Did you see Arian Foster? Did you see that? Arian
Yeah.
Foster comes out and says that the NFL is scripted. What do you think about that take? I know what I
Some
think
Sundays
about it, but I want you to go first. I know my thoughts on it.
I know that he was being sarcastic because that's Arian Foster.
Right.
But some Sundays it kind of feels like it might be.
ah, yeah. When he said that, it made me think. We went to a wedding a few years ago, and making friends with everybody is standard for me. But
Right.
made friends with a guy who happened to be an NFL official or an NBA official. And he's telling me about, I think we've talked about this before, where they pretty much get like a guideline of how they want the game to be officiated throughout. And every game is a different setup. We really want you to check the hand checking today. We really want you to get the carries today. We really want you to get the double dribbles today, whatever it is. I think it's like that for the NFL. You know what I mean? Based on certain games and certain teams where you say, okay, we know that the Eagles run RPO. Make sure we're like, I'm 100% for the Super Bowl. You can put this on wax. You can put this on the record. I'm expecting to see a legal man downfield at least twice. I'm waiting to see it because I feel like it happens, but it's one of those calls that people don't make. You know what I mean? Because the RPO is a tough read. So you're going to get linemen down the field, but we rarely have seen it called against the Eagles. I feel like we're going to see that at least 2 or 3 times in the Super Bowl. But certain things, I feel like they have certain guidelines about how they want the game to be officiated and certain things they want them to keep an eye out for. That doesn't necessarily change the game, but it influences the game for sure.
Yeah, no, I agree, and we saw it this year with defensive pass interference penalties being down, and then
Yeah.
illegal contact being way up because that was the point of emphasis in the offseason.
Right.
Penalties can change a game, but I don't know. They can change a game. That's all I'm gonna
say. With that being said, guys, we're going to go ahead and get ready to wrap this up. It's been an awesome time once again. I'm going to kick it to Bryce. You have anything that you would like to say or spout out? Any specials you got going on? Any crazy records? Anything you want to let the people know?
Well, first off, I don't know how I made it this long without trying everything bagels, but I've been on them for like a couple of weeks now, man. Get up in the morning, throw me an everything bagel in the toaster with a little bit of salted butter. It's money. You know what else is money? My college basketball right now is hands down, lights out. I do this year in and year out. I start slow in college basketball, almost to a point where I want to quit. And then something happens around Christmas, and then it all just starts clicking. The stuff that I look for just starts falling into place. And mid-January through the end of March, I get hot. And right now I'm on an absolute heater in college basketball, 14-2-2 premium play run, up over 31 units in, I think, about 14 days. I'm a low unit better too. That's the thing, is my average unit size, if you add it all up and divide it by the plays, it's about 2.4 is my average unit. I'm up 31 units in 10 days.
Incredible. Incredible.
Defeatthebook.com day package. You won't regret it. I'll see you at the counter. That's all I got to say.
I love that. I want you to bring that one back. That was one of my favorite ones that you were using for a while there. It's like, hey, I'll see you at the window. I
Yeah,
really like
see you at
that.
the window.
Yeah, but I like that one. But yeah, he's been on an absolute heater. I had a rough one there yesterday. Ready to bounce back here tonight and get things going. I got 5 plays in order. $19.99 get you guys a day pass. It's really tough to beat in today's world. We're not into the seven unit, 15 unit monster super max plays. We're not into the 10 unit, their 10 pick parlays. You know what I mean? Now teasers, he will get you a crazy teaser. He went on a nasty little, what'd you run, like 4 or 5 straight teasers in the NFL? It was nuts.
Yeah, I had like a 5 unit teaser that I would throw out every week, and I think I ended up losing I think 2 out of the
Yeah.
like 14 that I put out. But
Nuts.
you know,
Nuts. Yeah.
it's all about key numbers in the NFL. That's why I tease plays, getting through those key numbers, trying not to cross zero. But we'll get into that next year. Football's over with. It's all about the hardwood right now, and both of us are rolling.
College basketball is two of our best sports. Things have been great. Hop on board. You won't be disappointed, guys. Defeatthebook.com. It's Bryce, Derek Dimes, guys. Let us help you beat the odds. Thank you guys for tuning in once again. Make sure you're following social media. It'll all be down in the description down below. Make sure you're following Bryce. He's been on Twitter giving out 4 units. So all you got to do is you like it, you retweet it. He had a 4 unit he was dying to give away. Didn't get enough likes, didn't get enough retweets. You retweet it, you like it, you get a free 4 unit, and he's cashed it. It was Pitt. I believe he had what, +8.5. It wins outright yesterday.
Yeah,
But
4 unit best bet, catching 8.5. We went outright, and I tried to give it away. It was the best bet on the entire board, and I couldn't get enough traction. Twitter at PTBryce47. Free plays all day long. Content. That's what we're trying to push out right now. If you guys are in this game, you won't find 2 guys better that are transparent and honest. I'll say that about us. We might not be the best handicapper every single day, but we're going to give you honesty and transparency, and we're going to see you at the window more times than not.
Hey, you heard it there. There's nothing else left to be said. That's what we live on. That's what we stand by. Honesty, transparency, and doing the best we can do for you guys every single day. It's Bryce, Derek Dimes, defeatthebook.com, guys. Let us help you beat those odds. Best of luck if you decide to tail, and if you don't, well, the joke's on you. Have a good one.